Hello and welcome to this Red Gaming Tech video, myself Amata, where as always I am here with the latest from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Today we're going to kick things off with a little something from Nvidia. And unfortunately this is a bit of a bad news if you are waiting to get your hands on a RTX 2060. Essentially, Nvidia have a ton of excess GTX 1060 stock. And this is primarily due to when the cryptocurrency craze was at its peak. Obviously, Nvidia was doing its damnedest to push out as many GTX 1060s as it could, just to try and satisfy that demand and obviously still leave some cards for gamers as well. But obviously we have seen that bubble very much burst over the last few months, and demand has obviously plummeted, but they're still left with all these excess GTX 1060s that they made. So you might go, okay, so why is this to do, why do I care about this? Well, basically, Nvidia are not going to be releasing they're unlikely to, I suppose is a better way to phrase it, release the RTX 2060 until at least, most of this excess 1060 stock has been sold off, because obviously they're very aware that why would you buy a 1060 and when there's a 2060 available, unless of course it's significantly cheaper. Do have a statement here from the CEO of Nvidia, Jensen Huang, who said, quotes, "The crypto hangover has left the industry with excess channel inventory. It will take 1 or 2 quarters to work through it. This is an unexpected near-term setback and doesn't change the fundamental dynamics of our company. The end of Moore's law has cleared a way for Nvidia accelerated computing as a great path forward." So the TLDR of all of this is we're not going to be seeing the 2060 for at least 3 to 6 months. So yeah, if you were waiting on that, for the sort of cheaper end of touring, you're going to be waiting a little while. And obviously there's the whole thing of the RX 590 as well, which AMD just released. So that's definitely going to be competing against the 1060. You might go with the 590 instead. Obviously it's a newer model, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, bit of a long wait for those of you who had your heart set on a 2060, I'm afraid. And the next item on our itinerary is actually regarding RX Vega and DXR. Now, you may have seen the tweet put out by videocards.com, and basically they were sort of retweeting a user who claimed to have DXR, obviously ray tracing, working on an RX Vega. So obviously people scrambled to be like, oh my god, is that true? That would actually be pretty damn huge. And there was one Jeff Kampman on Twitter who is of Tech Report, and he decided to test this for himself. And unfortunately, from his tests and also the tests conducted by WCCFtech.com, the answer seems to be no. And the original post, which basically instructs you how to do it, is going to be linked in the description below this video. If you perhaps want to try it yourself, you're more than welcome to. And even after following those steps, it seems that no, even after setting Windows to developer mode, it does seem that this is just not the case, at least at present. So what did Jeff actually have to say in his series of tweets with video cards? Essentially, he said, quote, "Finally got this up and running with a Vega 64, but I don't think changing the profile setting does anything on Radeons. Looks like it's using the base screen space reflections to me, regardless of what's in the profile." And we also see various other users chiming in as well to back up what he's saying. So unfortunately, that particular post on the Guru 3D forums has been pretty much debunked, but this shouldn't really come as a surprise to you given AMD's recent comments regarding ray tracing. So yeah, a bit of a bummer, but not exactly surprising. However, you will find a link below to the Guru 3D forum thread where this originated, as well as the Twitter thread with Jeff Kampman and video cards, as well as various other people as well. So, and of course the article from WCCF. So yeah, a bit of a disappointment, but again, I am not surprised really. Are you? Anyway, let's move off from that to another AMD piece, this time regarding EPYC. So what we actually have here is a new addition to the EPYC 7000 series lineup. Now, I have actually also done an article on this, which will of course be linked in the description below this video. Lots of links there for you today, so do be sure to check it out if you want to see the sources for all this information today. So what do we actually have here then? Well, we of course have, basically all the pertinent information other than the exact release date and the price. That's the only thing I'd really say is missing from this particular press release. So what we actually have here is the EPYC 7371. and unsurprisingly is going to be aimed at server focused cards that are going to happily be grateful for the extra clock speed, because we do see 3.8 gigahertz as the maximum across 8 cores. So the actual base clock for this particular part is going to be 3.1 gigahertz on 16 cores. The boost is 3.6, and again 3.8 gigahertz is achievable on 8 cores. But we also see 16 cores and 32 threads, and also 64 megs of L3 cache. Well, as for the actual release date, as I said, we don't have an exact release date. What we do have is a release window of Q1 2019, which of course is before the release of Zen 2, otherwise known as Epic Rome. But unfortunately, we did not even get a hint as to how much this particular part is going to cost. So, pretty impressive stuff to say the least. That 3.8 gigahertz is the highest they have actually achieved, the highest clock part to date. This is again before we see Zen 2 enter the fold, so it's going to be interesting to see what improvements they can make upon Rome, because of course if they're doing this with Epic 1, then what could they be doing, months on months down the line from the release of Epic 2? We'll have to wait and see, of course, but speaking of Epic, we have an interesting report for you next regarding what Intel might be cooking up behind the scenes. And what we actually have here is a leaked slide, thanks to anandtech.com, of the QCT schedule, and this basically shows that Intel are hard at work to get its 48-core Cascade Lake part out before year end. Now, that's what they're trying to do, but as you'll see on the slide itself, it does show a release window of late Q4 through to Q1 of 2019 for the extreme core count version of Cascade Lake, which again is 48 cores. Now, this will be an early shipment program launch, which does mean this is only going to be available to select enterprise customers, but they are still hoping to basically steal the limelight away from the launch of 7nm Epic Rome. So obviously they're trying to beat AMD to the post here, trying to, again, steal the limelight from them, release this first before we see the release of 7nm Epic throughout 2019. And, Intel are obviously very aware that AMD have been getting headway in this particular space, and this is one of their ways to try and basically take some of it back, or at least stop them from taking any more from them. Because if they can release something like, hey, here I am, before Epic 2 can come out, then yeah, you can kind of see the strat that they're trying to pull here. But we're going to finish things up today with something from Nintendo. Now, you may have seen the reports that Assassin's Creed Odyssey is playable on the Switch via cloud streaming, and we also, of course, saw a similar thing done with Resident Evil 7 earlier this year, but this is only in Japan. We have seen hide nor hair of this being available in the US or, of course, any Western country, and now we know why that is, as we have a statement from the Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aime, and he said, quote, "It's specific to Japan because of the internet infrastructure that exists in that country, very high-speed wireless capability. The ability to have a great experience in Japan is profound. The technical infrastructure doesn't exist for that to happen currently here in the United States. If you talk to radioactive gamers, there's a level of dissatisfaction because of lag and other things that happen currently. The question is, at what point will there be the technical infrastructure for that to be truly compelling experience? And so, from that standpoint, we're looking at that activity as a very interesting test case, and certainly is going to drive our thinking and potential investments here in the Americas." So, yeah, makes a perfect sense. Now, I've said multiple times that game streaming in this particular sense is not going to become a big thing until we get that internet infrastructure stable pretty much across the board, because, again, even here, and obviously somewhere as big as America, what connection you have available could vary from town to town and obviously from state to state as well. Like, certain people literally have no choice but to go with a certain provider because that's the only one in their area. And it might not just provide a very good service, because why would they feel the need to actually, provide more than they have to if no one's challenging them, that sort of thing. And even if you do have a good internet connection, it can still drop down. It just randomly goes for no reason. You have to reset your modem 50 times. You get my point. I've hammered home this point multiple times, so you don't need me to go through it again. I think you can get what I'm putting down without me going into exhaustive detail about it. So yeah, not exactly surprising reasoning here, but just goes to show that, again, we're not going to be seeing cloud gaming in this particular way in the West for some time, because we just need to solve that infrastructure problem. Anyway, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.